Hello, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. Um, Today is a very interesting day because there's been a lot of drama, honestly, in the music industry, and I personally love it. Um, so yeah, I'm of course referring to this is like probably the first time I actually have a full episode on K-pop specifically. Like, I mean, I've put so many K-pop songs in my playlists of the month, but this is probably the first time I actually dedicate an entire episode on K-pop, to K-pop. So like K-pop drama specifically as well, which is like very unusual because it's not really what I talk about most of the times. But this is like so big that, and it's so interesting, I think, as well to just like discuss because it's been on my mind for a bit, and I mean it's come out quite recently as well. So and it's causing like a big ruckus, and I'm of course referring to the basically the drama between Hybe and one of Hybe is basically like a conglomerate of K-pop labels, but most importantly, it's the the big label that owns BTS, of course, and Hybe was built off of Big Hit, but basically it's a conglomerate of like labels, and one of its let's just call them like daughter labels, like the smaller labels that they own. There's been a bit of beef between them. There's a bit of I guess like there's been a bit of like a fight in terms of like legal ownership and a lot of corporate drama, I guess. So we're gonna address that in my story of the day, of course. So strap up, there's a lot about you know like rights of ownership over like music and groups specifically and all that stuff. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting if you are into K-pop and if you like. You probably must have heard the story because it's like quite fresh and quite recent. I think many articles were coming out also recently, like this week, because of some specific press releases and interviews done by some of the CEOs. But I'll get into that. But first of all, of course, songs of the week. That is never gonna be missed. Thank you very much. So I think I've talked pretty much like extensively last week about the Torture Poets department. I'm gonna try and avoid because there's some songs from that because as I said in my last episode, that was my first reaction ever, and the more I've been listening to the album, the more I've been enjoying different songs, and like I've had enough time with also like the anthology, and I've just been falling in love with so many different tracks on that album. So just know it is growing on me, but I'm not gonna include any more songs, just for the sake of variety, I guess, in my playlist. Of course, as I said, like you can find these songs in my playlist of the month for April. But yeah, I just wanted to like shout out that anthology because the anthology brought some great tracks. So yeah. One song I really want to talk about today is "I'm Too Pretty for This" by Claire Rosencrantz. Rosencrantz. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she ate this track down, and it's like very like a punk pop song, and it's just like so so true. Like it's like being too good to just waste your time over a silly boy and a silly situation in general, let's just say. And just the chorus is very addictive. I love how she goes into falsetto, and it's just an incredible instrumental track as well. So yeah, like that, it literally was on repeat, has been a repeat for a while now. Really liked it. It's kind of like teen rage, I guess. Most of it, but I mean, I'm no teen anymore, but I just like love punk pop so much. Like I just love a bit of like a rock influence into my pop song. So I'm gonna be adding that definitely to the playlist. Then I have Chloe. Um, you might know Chloe from, wait, what was her? Well, she was in a group with her sister, like in a duo basically with her sister, Chloe and Holly. But you might know also Chloe as a soloist for Have Mercy. Why keep costing like it do? Why keep costing like it do? All these eyes up in my boot. Oh yeah, booty so big, Lord have mercy. You know, that's her. But she made this song. This song she put out this song not too long ago. Um, it's called Boy Bye. I can't. I can't like bring myself to like compare the song to something else, but it's on my mind. It's been on my mind ever since I started listening to a song. It reminds me so much of something that I've heard before, but I just cannot pinpoint what it is. I hope someone out there knows what I'm talking about. But this song is like super vibey. It has a very persistent and like consistent guitar acoustic guitar riff in the back, but it's just a great song. It still reminds me a bit of like early 2000 pop songs, but I just can't remember what it is. Is it like a Black Eyed Peas song that reminds me of, or um no, wait. My baby. You know that song? That song, I'm gonna find the name eventually, but it reminds me so much of that song. Um, if you know that, whatever the name of that song is, but that's the vibe of the song. But it's just like the core. Well, I mean, the lyrical content is of course about like getting rid of your ex and letting go of someone who's like clearly not good for you. It's just like not worth it. Um, but it's just incredible. She's like, I hate you when you call me. It's like she's so good at it. But Chloe has an amazing voice, and I think she's like so well, like like she fits like this genre so well. I think, like this early 2000 like pop like pop song type of beat, and I just love when like a pop song has like acoustic guitar, but it's like not slow, like you know, pretty like fast paced in a way. Just love it so much. So yeah, like if you love that kind of vibe, just check it out. I think you would like actually like enjoy it a lot. Um, so that's one. Another one. Um, I'm not. I think she might have a video for this. Yeah, she does. She does have a video of this. I haven't watched it personally, but it's a great track. Just a great mood in general, in general. And then I have Remembering My Dreams by Griff. I know like this might be like a quite an old song. I think it came out in 2021, but I I'm culpable of not listening to the EP, like the one foot in front of the other by Griff, because I love Griff, but I just listen to her singles and like some sporadic songs. But I've realized that so many of the songs from this EP I've independently liked. Basically, I didn't even know they were like all in the same one. I just like never bothered personally to check the EP, which is like my fault. I'm culpable of that. But um, remembering my dreams is just one other highlight of the old like of the whole EP. I think one song from the EP that was like super popular was Black Hole. Um, and then I got into Walk, and then I got into Heart of Gold, and now out of nowhere I just like I don't know, it came like out of nowhere like into my shuffle playlist. I'm listening to Remembering My Dreams so often. Great production. Griff has a talent for like this very specific production that it's kind of like um stringy, like, and for stringy I mean like I don't know, like sometimes you use a violin, sometimes you use like a lot of snappy drums and like snappy beats basically, and it's like very playful and very like I don't know. Whenever I listen to it, I feel like it's like ballet music, but if it was made like into pop records. So I don't know if it makes any sense, but it's a great track. I really like it. It's just a fun little pop song, and it's just personally most of all is like her delivery on this song, like the way she sings, and the production as usual. She has very interesting productions, honestly. Like she works with some crazy ass producers. So, but yeah, I'll put it in the playlist for y'all, and y'all can check it out, of course. But Griff, she's so talented, man. I'm like so happy that I discovered her because well, I think Taylor Swift put her on the map through her stories. That's how I like discovered her. So yeah, that's a slate. That's a slate. I don't know if I actually put this song into the I don't think I did put it in the last episode, but How Many Things by Sabrina Carpenter is actually an incredible track. I think I actually also covered it a bit on my Instagram stories. By the way, follow me, robscal.jpg on Instagram. But sometimes I post random like songs that I like, play. I play guitar sometimes. Like I'm not really that good, but I just like learn the strums and I don't even know how to read chord progressions and all that stuff. I just like learn it by heart, and then I just feel myself singing it. And this song was so good to sing, and it's just like an incredible track. So sad. Like she talks about like the chorus is of course my favorite part. Like she goes into, and it's a very laid back, straight back guitar song, acoustic guitar song, and she talks a lot about how like it's about basically her coming to the realization that the person she's in love with is falling out of love with her. Not necessarily the other way around. Like she's still madly in love with this person, but she can tell she's falling down his priorities. So yeah, she's wondering about how many things he thinks about before he gets to her. How many things go through his mind before he actually thinks of her, right? How many things, how many places he wants to be before like he gets to her. And yeah, it's just quite sad. It's like basically realizing that the person you're in love with doesn't actually love you back, or like loved you back, but is like slowly falling out of love with you. And yeah, when she sings like I feel myself falling further down your priorities, is just like, oof, girl, don't do this to me. And the opening lyrics, like some of the Sabrina Carpenter's the lyrics are so quirky. Like I think she talks in this song like so one time you were using a fork, turns out forks are everywhere. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? But if you think about it, it actually makes sense, because it's more like not about the fork itself, but it's just like you're so obsessed with this person, but then you realize it's actually like whatever. For example, you're obsessed with like some things that this person does, or like they wear, or like they use and all that stuff, and you like become so obsessed with the person that you start like disassociating. Like you just make something that is like so generic, so general, like that everyone uses, for example, you make it in your mind as if it's like a very specific and unique thing to that person. So when like she's like you use a fork once, but it turns out actually forks are fucking everywhere, like it's like saying, I mean, I used to think you were like super fucking special, but it turns out like actually guys like you are everywhere basically. So yeah, I think that's how I'm interpreting it. It's such a quirky, stupid lyric, but I just like love it. That's like some of the best things about like Sabrina Carpenter, that she has some of her lyrics are so funny to me. So yeah, just loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So I'm gonna put these songs in the playlist, of course. But yeah, so check it out, of course. Um, and well, I guess we should just like straight up get into the drama of it all. The drama of it all. So as I was saying, Hybe is a Korean music label, basically, that was basically the expansion of a previously already quite famous label called Big Hit, which currently houses TXT and BTS. Thanks to BTS's basically a breakthrough in the K-pop scene, and also in general, like in music and in the West, Big Hit accumulated a lot of money, of course, and like turned everything into like a bigger, project of just elevating the brand, the label, and just like they started buying other labels and just creating this conglomerate called Hybe that has many sub labels. But Big Hit is the founding label of this conglomerate, basically, and soon enough, like literally in the span of like a couple of years, they bought so many labels, like for example Pledis, which houses 17, or Source Music, which now, well, used to house G Friend, but now houses La Seraphim, and we'll get into the Seraphim in a bit as well because they're also somehow involved in this like whole mess. And then they also well, that's the thing. They also established some other sub labels like B-Lift, which houses I'll It, which is another main protagonist of our story. A rookie group that just debuted literally like a couple of months ago, like a month ago. And I think they're like also part of that label. And then they also have this other label that they founded as well called Adore, which is like headed by Min HeeJin, who used to be a veteran. Well, she's a veteran of she's a veteran. I want to call her like a veteran CEO, even though like she was never CEO, but veteran, let's just say like K-pop producer, I guess, in that sense. Producer in terms of like not like beat production, but like like concept I guess like like I don't know, creator and all that stuff. Creative director, let's just say, like, yeah, she's a very experienced creative director in that sense. She used to be in SM Entertainment, and she was behind so many groups, including OG, well, I was going to say OGG, like SNSD. So yeah, so this woman has a lot of experience, like 30 years almost of experience, I think, into the K-pop scene, and she then moved from SM to Big Hit when Big Hit became Hybe, basically, right? And she is also credited for the creation of this super popular group called NewJeans. You might have, of course, heard of them. Super Shy, Attention, Hype Boy, all these tracks are like super popular. ETA, you know. So she's the creative director behind, like the main force behind the concept of this group, the way that this group came about, how she recruited all the idols as well, and so yeah, she has established her own like smaller label, even though it turns out like she actually just owns 20% of this label, but she is the main force behind this label and behind NewJeans, right? So everything seemed super super fine because NewJeans became a huge success, and like it seemed that Hype was really proud of the accomplishments they achieved through NewJeans, proving that they can actually do a lot of great concepts, and like they can actually have very successful girl groups. Also because a Big Hit used to be when back in the days when it was like still a very unknown label. They used to have, well, they had like some crazy scandals with their only one and only girl group that disbanded almost immediately. There was a lot of like crazy stories about that, but I'm not gonna get into it. But basically, they had a very tainted past when it comes to girl groups. So that the only girl group under Big Hit itself that debuted, then literally disbanded, and they never tried in their whole history to like relaunch a group. But the good thing is that when they went into the conglomerate situation, they founded this like a conglomerate. Big Hit technically could have multiple groups under under the umbrella of different labels, right? So they couldn't they managed to get rid of like that stain basically, and they used other labels to just put out girl groups, and turns out it worked pretty well for them because under Hybe now we have three very big groups. Like I'm talking about very very popular groups in the K-pop scene. So I'm talking about the Seraphim under Source Entertainment, of course, yeah. Then we have, as I said, like NewJeans under Adore, and now very recently, very very recently, they just debuted It, which is like ILLIT, under B-Lift. So there are three different sub labels, but they all have their own little girl groups, and each of them, as of now, has seen like an incredible amount of success. Like incredible, like I'm talking about Billboard, I'm talking about Coachella, I'm talking about especially I'm talking about Korean charts, which is the most important part, of course, because it's K-pop and it is very popular abroad. But you also need to take into account the popularity of the brand and the different labels in Korea. But yes, you cannot complain about it because they all had an incredible amount of success, all these groups. Now, here's the thing. The first group to come out of this conglomerate situation. Whenever the conglomerate like first became a thing, that was supposed to be their first group, the first girl group ever in the, you know, as I said, like a tainted past. Like everyone was looking forward to this group, to like the first girl group coming out of Hybe, and the first girl group that came out of it was actually La Seraphim, and many people were having, you know, great expectations behind this group because it was the first one, but also because it had two very important idols in this group that were previously in another group called IZ*ONE. IZ*ONE, it was a non-permanent K-pop group, a project group that was made throughout survival show, whatever. But that group was super popular in like third generation, which was like 2018 to 2020 maybe. Huge group, super popular. All the members, most of the members in that group now ended up becoming super famous in their own like respective niches. And two members of that group, I'm talking about Chaewon and Sakura, signed a contract with Hybe and then eventually debuted in La Seraphim. So the hype behind this group was incredible, and they lived up technically to the expectations. They've been very consistent in terms of tracks, great production. Their albums are like, you know, full of great tracks. They always go viral in the way like they have some incredible tracks. Recently they went viral for The Wrong Reasons, which was their very first performance at Coachella, and they were, let's just say, very inconsistent. Let's just say that. Very inconsistent with their vocals, live vocals, and everyone was like dragging them through the mud. But that's another conversation. We don't need about that. But just keep in mind that basically La Seraphim ended up being the first technically the first girl group that debuted under Hybe. I'm not talking about pre-existent groups that were like brought under the Hybe umbrella when they were bought, when their labels were bought, like G-Friend or what was the other one? Like under well, there was another group, anyways. Promise Nine, yeah, Promise Nine. But anyways, La Seraphim, first girl group, super successful. There had a bit of drama with one of the members leaving, but they seem to have like outlived that, and they're still like riding high, I guess. But that was incredible. Like shortly after that, we got then the second girl group called NewJeans, which actually proved to be super successful as well. I would venture to say that NewJeans technically might be even more popular than La Seraphim, maybe. I'm willing to say that. Most importantly, because I think, one, no one had any expectations about them, first of all. Like, because all the idols in the group were pretty much unknown. The only expectations behind them was were because of the fact that their creative director, Min HeeJin, was very famous as well, right, in Korea. So that's the only basically hype behind it. But I wouldn't really consider it as like a hype situation. But they managed to, like, out of nowhere, out of sheer I would say marketing strategies and like production and like just pure love for the music, they managed to turn like a pretty unknown group, like straight from their debut, to an incredible, you know, leading girl group in the K-pop scene and also in the West. Literally, I still remember when they debuted, they had those 4 tracks put back to back, and like just a video for each song. And Attention, I remember Attention, when Attention came out first, it was incredible. I don't know what's happening in my corridor, but people are screaming. Oh my god, it's so insensitive. But anyways, so those 3 tracks when they debuted with, they went viral because they brought like a very fresh breath of air to K-pop, and Min HeeJin was super, like, very much praised for it because she was like the main creative director behind it. She was like, she hit the spot, you know, she was 100% on it. She managed to become to execute her vision perfectly, super successful. Marketing was huge, and then from then on it was just like success after success for them, right? So, and when did it all go to shit, basically? Well, like, how did we get from Hybe having 2 crazy, like, popular girl groups to just beefing with Adore and Min HeeJin, right? The problem first started with audit, as I mentioned, the third group that just recently debuted. This group, when they debuted, everyone had a bit of a, well, the music was super well received. They are killing the charts in Korea, but there's a big problem. Everyone is saying that, well, when they debuted, that they copied NewJeans. It was very much NewJeans repurposed, like a different group, the same same group, different font. Basically, that's what you were saying. That's so funny to me. But yeah, people were not having it. No, it's not that they were not having it. Oh, it wasn't that big um of a shock in that sense. Like, it didn't really affect the group that much, the online chatter, but some people were, noticing the similarities, the in terms of both like sound and music, and like the EP having only 4 tracks and all that stuff. Like, just also the hair, the makeup, and everything else. It was very similar to NewJeans in that sense, right? So it appears that actually our CEO, I keep on saying CEO, but she's not actually CEO, I think, of Adore. But well, the creative director Min HeeJin also thought the same, and shortly, like after seeing the success of this new girl group, she of course felt some type of way, and she let everyone know. It's basically that, Eyelids copied NewJeans, and she was very much distraught by the situation, and how like Hybe basically didn't really care about her intellectual property, and like how she her creative basically rights were just infringed, and they were just there was a lot of plagiarism inside the company itself, and it was just she was not very happy with it, because she was the sole creator behind the NewJeans concept. And for that, I actually side with Min HeeJin, because I do truthfully believe that she was super innovative with it. Like, she was very, very, very on the ball, and she needs to be credited for just the amazing run that she had with the group. So initially I was actually, I was very much siding with her. I was like, yeah, you're right, you're so right, actually, yeah, so right. And then Hybe did an audit out of nowhere, basically, on the company, because they found out that basically Adore, the label, and Min HeeJin were trying to get external investors to just acquire that 80% that was owned by Hybe. Just, they were trying to find a way of getting detached from Hybe and become their own independent label, basically, right? To just have some form of independence. So yeah, Hybe didn't know anything about this. They found out through an audit, and they also found other things about the label that and Min HeeJin specifically, that she started putting out private information about other idols in the company, from other sub-labels. She started selling information to the press and all that stuff secretly. So she started leaking personal information about different idols, and that's a big accusation. And so then Hybe also issued a statement that they against basically Min HeeJin and Adore, asking Min HeeJin to step down as co-CEO, whatever, or part of the the board of directors of the label, and to just supplant her with other Hybe people, instead of having all of her close collaborators there on the chair. So yeah, I love drama, basically. But of course, then shortly after, Min HeeJin decided to have a press interview, basically, a press run with different trades and all that stuff. And it was a spectacle, let's just say that. It was I don't know if it was a performance or not, but it was very much, to me, watching it, felt like a huge, performance in that sense. Not necessarily, I'm not saying I'm not trying to invalidate her feelings, because I think she's actually in some aspects super, super right, but also going for a press interview and just dragging into this situation different groups, and just making it about just dragging people into it, just feels very messy and very ill-hearted. I understand she feels very frustrated by the fact that she cannot have full ownership of something that she created, which is totally fair. I agree with that. But also, why drag other people into this? Why drag? She literally name dropped Sakura Taiwan from Seraphim. She started exposing Hybe, some private text messages. She started exposing Hybe for basically promising her to just join the Hybe group, and then she would be the main, head of like the girl groups and all that stuff, she would have had the chance to debut NewJeans first. The NewJeans should have been the first group to debut instead of Le Seraphim, and then she got sidetracked and betrayed, and then Le Seraphim was formed and was debuted first. And when she found out about, she's talking about how Sakura and Chaewon were signed out of nowhere, she didn't know anything about it. She felt betrayed because they were trying to pull like a move to just have her project, which was NewJeans, sidelined. So she's saying basically she was promised to have all the assets basically that would have allowed her to like debut the group first. Like NewJeans was supposed to be the first introduction from Hybe in terms of girl groups, but that didn't happen. So that's how it like technically turns out. Adore happened. Like she then basically decided to create her own agency, like her own label under Hybe. But technically, she was supposed to put out the NewJeans girl group under Hybe, but I assume not under any specific like sub label that was bought, but through maybe Big Hit, I assume. But then she had to create her own thing. So that to me already sounds like she was planning to just eventually move out of it all along. Just massive level of success and then just get the fuck out of there with her group. But she just needed funds basically. But yeah, so she brought those people into the mix, and then she talked also in the interview about Eyelit and how she's so heartbroken about the fact that I basically plagiarized all of her intellectual property and all that stuff, and that's also quite sad. But I think, she's trying to defend her name, which is, of course, her right to do, but I also think, like, sensationalizing it, I think she knows for a fact that if she doesn't do this, she doesn't have enough power in the company to just, like, turn around what's happening, and I understand. Like, that maybe could be technically a good idea, but I just don't like the bringing into all of this, like the G-Friend disbandment or like the BTS situation or whatever. Like that to me felt very unnecessary. But the girls are fighting, the girls are fighting, the CEOs are fighting, the mans are fighting, everyone is fighting in this conglomerate, and it's just very sad to see, because at the end of the day, I just don't want the groups and the idols themselves to suffer from this whole shenanigan. And to be quite fair, realistically, they might suffer from this a bit, but who knows? It really depends on how it goes next. Because my big question is, what's gonna happen? Is Min HeeJin gonna step down? I think eventually she might have to, because she doesn't have enough leverage on the whole label, like on the whole like conglomerate, to just do anything with it. So my logical sense tells me that basically probably what's gonna happen is that Min HeeJin is gonna be kicked out soon, and they're still gonna retain Hybe is still gonna retain NewJeans, but without Min HeeJin. So we might see NewJeans have a different creative director behind them, a bit of a change. But to be fair, we've seen how Eyelit has been handled, and like basically they're perfectly able to like recreate the same vibe. My only problem is, aren't they going to like cannibalize each other? Because if they're doing the same vibe and the same beat and all that shit, I think people are gonna be pretty much on the fence and like who to stream and all that stuff. And like, why do you create a situation? See, that's the only thing I don't understand. Maybe there was a quick and easy way to look at Eyelit basically on the charts, to have like a very similar sound that was already very, very well like acquainted by the very people were very accustomed to that sound, and maybe the next time Eyelit comes back, they're gonna have their own sound, which I really hope so they do. But yeah, if they do keep both groups with the same sound, it's gonna be quite bad. And why do you want to create like an internal fight? The other thing that I see is that they may lose all their rights to their songs and all that stuff, and they may just like, I don't know, if it gets really, really bad, it can also happen because it's South Korea. It might happen that the group disbands or something, but the group is famous. It's very well established. They have a lot of fans, so I don't see that. That would be a loss for Hybe, personally, I think. But who knows? So, yeah, Min HeeJin, of course, like, denied bringing it, like, all these, like, accusations that were, thrown at her and all that stuff. So, of course she would, because who the fuck would want to, like, confirm that? But, yeah, so crazy situation. So I am shocked, shell shocked. I am honestly um very shocked about how, like I don't think I've ever seen this big of a blowback in ages in K-pop. Like there's never been this big of a like corporate drama situation before. Probably because also Hybe is probably one of a kind in K-pop now. Like we've never had like a conglomerate like this. It's never happened. Like yeah, some labels have sub labels, but it's never been a situation like a very westernized type of like economics where like a label starts to become so big that it starts buying everything. Like sort of like Disney, how they bought every other like little um industry and studio. Like Hype technically did what Disney did with like Fox and Marvel and all this stuff. They're doing it with like other labels basically, but that's a bit of a first in K-pop because this is like a first situation ever. But I never would have imagined like sub labels fighting between them and just creating a mess. Usually the mess, like the competition, is usually between groups from different labels, and that's why like everyone doesn't really bother about it because it is sort of like competitive in that sense. It makes sense. Like you have competitive products on the market, but they're from different labels and different completely separate labels. But like an internal fight is actually crazy to me. So yeah, I am quite shocked. Quite shocked. Uh, but yeah, what's crazier though is like in all this, NewJeans has now actually come back with a song. I think it's like a pre-release single, um, and the song is quite good. I have to say, like the song is incredibly good actually. Like NewJeans cannot make a bad track, but I don't know how. Like I need to check properly the charts next week when they get released. But I'm curious to see how they're gonna perform on the charts after all this mess. And I think definitely Min HeeJin was like, let me, put out a song. Let me try and like at least make some money out of this. Because at the end of the day, like I think even bad press is good press in that sense. Like it gives you publicity in that sense. Um, so yeah, I'm like, you know, very intrigued to see how it goes next. Corporate drama is always like super fun, and what I want is just for the girls to be protected. I guess I just like want them to keep on making music because I like their music so much, and I just want everyone to be happy. Like, isn't that too much ask? I don't know. Um, and I just want this like to be dealt with privately. Enough with these like this trade war and like this publicity war and all that stuff. Enough. Just deal with it as adults. Like go to court. I don't know, file some papers, do something, have some board meetings, do something. But at least don't bring this constantly to the forefront. All the groups are really gonna suffer from this. I think that's my takeaway. Is that if they keep on bringing, interviews and all that stuff, like press releases and all that stuff, to the front, the groups I think ultimately will be the ones like suffering the most because people are not gonna be bothered to check. Like they don't want South Koreans. They really don't like K-pop. It's always been like that. Whenever there's like some drama, like personal drama or like scandals and all that stuff, the Korean netizens, I guess, like they're very quick to just disassociate and like just disengage with the artists because to be quite frank, the market is already so saturated with different groups. They can simply just go and listen to something new, something different. So yeah, I mean, also if you look at it, there's plenty of groups who are coming back now. So like aespa is coming back, and IVE is coming back. These are all like competitors to NewJeans, and I'm wondering if they decide to like accelerate the releases just to like try and breach through this mess and like maybe come out on top and just get all the attention on them and just lead the charts. I think NewJeans still has been the biggest fourth gen girl group in that sense, but the competition is very quite like it's quite close between like IVE, aespa, La Seraphim, and NewJeans in that sense. It is like more like fifth gen, but still the same labels and like they're still contemporaries in that sense because they're still making music at the same time. But the competition is strong, you know, and this is the first time we see, you know, an internal cat fight. Let's just call it like that. But yeah, that's the drama of the week, basically. Hopefully that interests you, and like if you do want to find out more, please be on the lookout, because I think more things are going to come out in the next few days. I think things are moving quite quickly now. They're escalating even more, and I assume we will find out about the destiny, I guess, like the future of the group, of like NewJeans and of the label pretty soon, because they want to course correct so bad, like so quickly, because their stocks are like Hybe stocks are like falling down. They're like really suffering right now because of this like whole mess. So they want to course correct very soon. So I'm very curious to see what happens next. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'll probably put the NewJeans song. Well, it's actually not on streaming, so whatever, never mind, scrap that. But overall, hope you guys are gonna have a great week ahead of you, and I hope you stay out of drama instead, and you just, you know, have a happy and jolly and slayful rest of the week. Just you know, stay strong, and yeah, it's next week is gonna be May, and we're gonna approach my month basically. So stay tuned for Taurus seasons as well. Taurus season is the best, so stay tuned for that. Have a great week. Bye.